Well, it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to get started right on time.
All right.
My name is Cary. I'm the president of the Mutual Aid Society. And the major purpose of the organization was started in 1938, and the major purpose was to take care of the single men who had started working in Chicago in restaurants, and when they passed on, there was no one to take care of their affairs or to send their remains back to Japan, and nowhere to bury them here in Chicago. So a group of men got together and said that they would take care of their affairs for them, and that's how the Mutual Aid Society started. Today, our primary purpose remains to sell plots in Montrose Cemetery, and as a continuing service to the community, we decided that we would have community outreach seminars to help people as they get older and decide decisions to make in their life. So tonight, our seminar is going to be on Medicare and Social Security. I'd like to introduce Brian Funai, who is our chairperson for Community Affairs, and he'll take over from here.
Thank you, Gary. You just said everything I was going to say. Thank you all for coming. It's a cold night. I'd also like to thank any veterans here for coming out on Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Like Gary said, the Mutual Aid Society Chicago, while the focus has been on providing services for the Japanese community, mainly with regards to end-of-life issues, we have been working on reaching out to the community, providing some more public service information. Many of you may have been to our other seminars that we had over the past couple of years on veterans benefits, estate planning, and tonight we are going to have the second part of the seminar that we started last year. So it's going to be even better. Tonight, just like we had in the last seminar, we have Cary Wong here to speak to us. He is a certified financial planner with Prudential. Many of you know him. He's been active in the Japanese American community for decades. He's given his time tirelessly to JCL, various other organizations. He's going to help walk us through what we need to know for Social Security and Medicare. I hope that you find it informative. Just so you know, this presentation is being recorded. It will be uploaded to the Mutual Aid Society's website, as with all of our other seminars. So whatever you missed tonight, you can always go to our website and look at the video again. So please join me in welcoming Cary.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. What you have tonight is really 3 seminars packed into one. Because it's been a year since we've done any seminars here for Mutual Aid, I thought we would try to get as much content that would be helpful to you as we're all aging. I know I'm aging. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit fun here. We are all going to take a test. Can you see the screen? Okay, and I'll read the questions to you. And I'll ask for a yes or no in a show of raise of the hands, okay? Social Security retirement benefits are based on my earnings history. I'll receive the same monthly benefit amount whether I start collecting before or after my full retirement age. True or false? Let's do this again. Social Security retirement benefits are based on my earnings history. I'll receive the same monthly benefit amount whether I start collecting before or after my full retirement age. Let's say what is true and what is false. How many false do we have? Raise your hands. Okay. So it looks like we're going with false, right? False is correct, and only 57% of the population answered this correctly. If you collect Social Security benefits before reaching full retirement age, which is FRA, full retirement age, for most of us, that's age 66, in this room at least. Some have reached it at age 65, and there is a push to consider raising the full retirement age. Okay, next, if my spouse dies, I will continue to receive both my own benefit and my deceased spouse's benefit. The total Social Security benefits I receive will not change. Again, if my spouse dies, I will continue to receive both my own benefit and my deceased spouse's benefit. The total Social Security benefits I receive will not change. Let's see true. Any trues? Any falses? Okay, it looks like we're going with false, and false is the correct answer. Social Security retirement benefits are only paid while you are alive. Assuming that you're eligible, the amount you receive will be equal to the greater of your benefit or your spouse's benefit. We're going to touch a little bit later more on the survivor benefit. There's a difference between spousal benefit and survivor benefit. Okay. Only U.S. citizens can collect the Social Security retirement benefits. True? False. Who wants false? Who would like to say true? Okay, good crowd. False is correct. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen to qualify for Social Security retirement benefits. Resident aliens who pay into the Social Security system may qualify to receive retirement benefits, and in addition to that, Medicare benefits. Okay, under Social Security, current law, my benefits will not be reduced if I claim that at age 65 under current law. True? And false. Again, under current Social Security law, my benefits will not be reduced if I claim them at age 65. How many trues? How many falses? Okay, looks like the crowd goes with false. And remember, the full retirement age for most of us is age 66 or more. Okay, so it's based on the year you were born. Some of us were able to collect at age 65. I'm not going to ask in this crowd who they were or who they are, but for most of us, it's 66 plus at this point. If I'm still working when I claim my Social Security, my benefit might be reduced depending on my earnings and age. If I am working when I claim my Social Security benefit, it might be reduced depending on my earnings and my age. How many trues? How many falses? Okay, still going pretty good. Oh, sorry, I needed to go back. Well, that didn't work. All right. Social Security retirement benefits are based on my earnings this year. I received the same monthly benefits. Yeah, false. Okay. If my spouse dies, I will continue to receive both my own benefit. Well, we did this, didn't we? All right. So let's go. Can I go? Next. 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 That was true. Okay. If I file for retirement benefits and have minor dependent children, they may also qualify for Social Security benefits. This is the tough one. If I file for retirement benefits and have minor dependent children, they may also qualify for Social Security benefits. How many trues? How many falses? How many do not have children? Okay, so you're exempt. Okay, that is true. If you file for your Social Security benefits, your minor children are eligible for benefits. And if you have minor benefits at full retirement age, God bless you. My primary insurance amount, which is known as PIA, my primary insurance amount is the Social Security retirement benefit amount I will receive if I elect to receive my retirement benefit at age 62. My primary insurance amount is the amount of Social Security benefit, retirement benefit that I will receive if I elect to receive my retirement benefit at age 62. Trick question. It's called the PIA, your primary insurance benefit. Okay, let's guess. Anybody who wants to guess true, raise your hands. Sounds reasonable, doesn't it? How many believe that's false? We have more no opinions. Okay. That's exactly right. The answer is false. Your primary insurance amount is your projected benefit amount that's associated with your full retirement age. I didn't make this stuff up. It's the government stuff, right? Okay. Social Security payments are not subject to cost of living adjustments. Good one, right? Easy. Social Security payments are not subject to cost of living adjustments. How many trues? How many falses? Okay, so everybody who says it's false gets the cost of living adjustment, and those who say it was true don't get it, right? Okay, I see no next. So I think we're done. No, we're still got. Government workers may receive reduced Social Security retirement benefits. Government workers may have reduced Social Security benefits. True or false? Sounds like a true. That is true. They are subject to, just like some school district teachers, are subject to cutbacks. Other public workers like firemen, policemen may have reduced benefits for Social Security. My spouse is eligible to receive Social Security retirement benefits even if he or she has no individual earnings history. True? False? We'll go with true. Okay, we got 9 out of 10 correct because I tried to go backwards, right? Right. But we really got all right. And you're a smart crowd because only 47% got these kind of scores. Most people are unaware of Social Security. So we're going to go over some of the things, the moving parts of Social Security, but we're going to go and discuss restricted benefits, which is going away in more detail. All right. So, first of all, in your booklets, your folders, you're going to see a bunch of pieces in your folders, and they're from different companies because I try to select pieces that were most understandable and most helpful for you in reading. We're going to be skipping around some of the content in Social Security, and give me some feedback if you want more information regarding a particular subject, or I'll just proceed because we've got 45 minutes in this section, and then we're going to jump into healthcare costs and retirement after our break, and then Medicare. Okay, so the good news is cost of living. For those of us who are having Social Security benefits now paid to us, we are going to get a raise. So here are the Social Security changes for 2019. The rate that the employer and the employee pays for Social Security is unchanged from last year. So they're withholding, and in fact, the millennials and the Gen Xers and us who are contributing to Social Security out of our paychecks are all going to be, if we're employed with an employer, paying 7.65%. Okay? The employer matches that 7.65%. That match in our contribution continues until $132,000 this upcoming year. It's gone up from $128,400. Retirement earnings test has only slightly ticked up. And the earnings test is when you're receiving a benefit and you're less than full retirement age of 66, is where the government says your earnings are capped, and beyond that earnings cap, you're going to be forfeiting your Social Security benefit. So let's say I wanted my Social Security benefit at age 65, and for me that's 1 year short. And if I'm earning above these limits, they're going to start withholding money out of my benefit. So it would logically point you to, if you can wait until you fully retire to accept your Social Security benefits, or you reach your full retirement age at 66, to which at that age, they're not going to capture anything from you. Okay? So anybody who retires before your full retirement age of 66, and I'm just going to use 66 for this room, will get recaptured of earnings, whether they be a spousal benefit or whether they be your benefit. So let's say that you are 2 years to retire, and we'll go over this. You get an 8% increase in your benefit for every year you delay beyond your full retirement age of 66. Now, if the market always did 8% every year, you'd be pretty wealthy, okay, because your pot would double in less than 10 years. But here is a real opportunity for you to delay your Social Security to get a higher benefit. And once you reach that highest benefit, it's for a lifetime. Okay, this is just fluff. And this here, the estimated average monthly Social Security benefits payable in January, and this is the average amongst all who are receiving benefits. For retired workers, it's going to go from $1,422 on average to $1,461. And you could see the other classifications here, what the averages are. Okay, so that covers the 2019 cost of living. Okay, and if we stay on the left side of the panel, on your folders, you will see a piece that gives you a little more detail. But what this piece does is go over the fact that the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015 eliminated the file and suspend. And that probably affected most of us in the room. Does anybody know file and suspend, the benefit that went away? Okay. Does anybody want me to describe what file and suspend is? It's gone. Okay. One thing that is left is restricted benefit filing. And we're going to go over this more in details because there are specific pieces in our folders that address restricted benefits. And in fact, that's going to be the recurring theme in a lot of the pieces that are in your folder because you've got to understand this. Some of us will have that opportunity to do restricted benefits. If you miss it, it's going away. Just like file and suspend is going away, that's going away as well. Now, we can go into the political discussion about this, But basically, file and suspend was the greatest thing anyone has ever heard of. No pension benefit had ever had such a scheme. It was basically something that you could do while you were a married couple and get the maximum out of the Social Security system. It made no sense at all. Okay, for those of you who were able to do file and suspend, great. They're not going to take it away. Same with restricted benefit. If you miss this opportunity, and that we'll discuss later, it's gone forever. So how many of you think that Social Security is going to be around for the next 25 years? Do most of us think that it's going to be around the next 25 years? Do most of us think it's going to be around for the rest of our life? Okay, there's more optimism here in this room than 10 years ago. Because when they did surveys, most people believed more in aliens than they did that Social Security would live and continue paying them for the rest of their life. Okay, so here's what's really interesting. And financial advisors are being trained to understand that yes, it's an entitlement. It's gone well beyond the safety net of its original intention. It's morphed into this thing that we all look at each other and says, that's my money, right? I'm entitled to it. I paid in and I want my money back. I just got back from Boston Friday night and I went to a conference, and this chief economist, and she's pretty famous, but she was a Federal Reserve staff worker. She went to Oppenheimer to be a chief analyst. She went to CNBC and she was the chief economist for CNBC. And her retort, and I wasn't sure I was going to use this in front of all my fellow baby boomers, but she's the Gen Xer. And she said, when people ask or make comments to the fact that it was promised to me, as a Gen Xer, she says, no, I didn't make that promise. You guys promised yourself. And my kids, the millennials, didn't promise this. They didn't even have a vote in this. So that was her response. But I would agree to most of the feeling of the people in the room that it will continue, because if you take a look at this portion right here, right at the top, where you put in, as an employee, 7.65%, and the employer puts in a matching. And let me get my statistics correct. If we raise this total amount here that you see, the 15.3%, if you raise it to 2.84%, and again, it's split between the employee and the employer, it will fund Social Security for the next 75 years. Not a hard political thing to do. Here's some of the other myths. How many of you believe that the Treasury Department can borrow from the Social Security Trust Fund? Can they do that? Can they use that for the government use? They can't. No. Congress can't touch it. Department of Treasury can't touch it. The trust fund is set aside and they can't touch it. It's illegal for them to touch it. Yeah, so I agree with all of you that Social Security will be here for the lifetime, and there's not going to be any worries, unless the millennials vote to discontinue it, and those are our kids, right? It'll be their fault. It'll be their fault. Okay, so this is a real detailed guide on Social Security. You can refer to this at your leisure, but because we've got 45 minutes for this section, I'm going to ask you to look at the very last handout on that left panel. We're going to be talking mostly about spousal benefits, survivor benefits, widow benefits tonight. And one of the reasons why is because you can read a lot of the stuff on your own, right? You can get some counseling on your own. But the complicated part of Social Security is what our spouses get if we die, or what they're entitled to when it's restricted benefits or widows. Okay, so if you just turn into the third page of that, I'll ask that you look at the left-hand column, which is the fine print. And it starts with non-married couples eligible for spousal and survivor benefits. In 2014, the Social Security Administration updated its rules to recognize some legal relationships as if a marriage exists, okay? And then it points you to a website. And here is the website right on the screen. So what this actually does is clarify for those of us who aren't married but have been in a relationship for a long, long time. What does Social Security do? How do they recognize benefits? And this you can discuss with your attorney, but basically it goes down and it goes to how they treat you, and it points to the state. And of course, most of us are in Illinois, right? So in a non-marital relationship, we should get to a chart. But I might not be able to find it. Okay, but let me skip directly to Illinois. In Illinois, Social Security would treat your significant other as a spouse if you register under a civil union. Doesn't have to be a marriage. And whether or not it's a civil union or whether or not you get married, there's always got to be a 1 year. So you have to do it a year ago in order to collect the benefits. But this is a rarely known thing here in Illinois, that civil unions are actually recognized for the purposes of Social Security benefits. And it goes through on this website. You can just Google that. Okay, you can Google civil union licenses, Illinois. And the requirements, if you can't read them, is you have to appear together at one of the clerk's offices. You have to present valid IDs, fill out and sign the civil license application, and pay $60. And that's all. Then you get a civil union proof document. And then from that point on, you have to go through the Social Security Administrator's legal proof. And it's a process to do, and it's probably best to do that at a Social Security office. But for all of you who know people in long-term relationships, please let them know about this. Domestic partnership, which is a different form for Cook County in Illinois, doesn't work. It's got to be a civil union. So when you go from this site and you do your research, it points you to all the states that recognize domestic partnerships, whether it's domestic partnership or civil unions that are recognized for the purposes of spousal continuation benefits. That's very important to know. So please let your friends, your relatives, and there are more than a few of us in our baby boomer age brackets who are in relationships, have been in long-term relationships, or a short-term relationship, but well over a year, that may want to consider protecting that person for the purposes of Social Security benefits. Any questions?
Does it affect your tax filing status?
It does not. You're still single for tax purposes. The only purposes of this is for Social Security. You'll have to talk to an attorney whether or not a domestic partnership gives you more rights. But here, when I do my corporate health insurance plans, if the employer allows domestic partnership coverage, there's an affidavit you sign, and the best affidavit is just the Cook County affidavit of domestic partnership. And that's a legal document, and you just go in the same place, right downtown. Okay? Any questions on that? It may not affect, a lot of people who you know, but those people should know that it's available. Okay, we're doing okay. So we're done on the left side of the folder, and if I'd like you to pull out this specific life piece, which describes the restricted benefit, which is in fact going away. And let me pull this up on the screen. How many of you know about restricted benefits? We had that conversation, didn't we, Glen? Okay. So, restricted benefits. File and suspend was this. I reach age 66. My wife is age 64. She's eligible for spousal benefits, which is roughly half of my entitlement. So let's say at age 66 I was entitled to $2,000 a month. So my spouse at age 64 really had a $1,000 benefit coming to her, right? So I'm 66, which is my full retirement age, and I decide to file for my benefit but suspend my payments. And that simply meant that the 8% per year run up in my benefit, my increases, continued to age 70, and then it stops, right? So file and suspend, we're just talking about it because restricted benefit is very similar. So restricted benefit is where I'm age 66 and I want my spouse to have a benefit. I actually have to claim now. So I forego the 8% every year, but my wife, who's age 64, would receive $1,000 per month. So now the household is getting $3,000 a month coming in. She's got a restricted benefit, but if she worked, that also meant that as a spouse, she actually, on her own work record, got her full retirement benefits coming if she delayed it to age 66, and she would receive the 8% increases as well. Okay, so restricted benefit for the spouse, however, is always frozen at my full retirement age. So her $1,000 is never going to go up even if I delayed. So if I delayed it to age 67 or 68, she wouldn't get the corresponding increase of that $1,000 a month. So if I delayed, she would only get the spousal benefit based on my full retirement age. Does that make sense? Okay. Try to explain this to anybody else, okay, without any handouts. It'll never happen, all right? Well, she has a choice. If her spousal benefit is going to be more than her full retirement age benefit, and there's no crossover, she would get the highest benefit. If that spousal benefit's the higher, one of the two, she would always get the higher benefit. She would not get, as the quiz said, she wouldn't get both. Okay. If, though, at age 70 or age 67, there's a crossover, she has to make a decision whether or not she wants to continue her spousal benefit at $1,000, plus cost of living, of course, or take her own retirement benefit. And if she's been on spousal benefit, it's likely that the good math will tell her, wait till you're age 70. Because now you're more already, you'll get even more, 8% every year you delay. Okay, and that's what most advisors would tell you. It's nice that you have a spousal benefit based on a restricted application coming in because that's more income for the household, right? And you get less of a feeling that I'm leaving something on the table. I've worked all these years, and Cary's filed, I'm gonna be a spouse for Cary, I'm gonna get the benefit. No, you can't touch my money, it's going in my checking account. But she's got this benefit coming in, and if she's not working, there's no recapture. Remember? They can recapture this if she's not full retirement age. So there's certain terms you got to remember. FRA, full retirement age. All right. So let's say she's under the income bracket where you forfeit $1 for every $2 you earn, or $1 for $1 of earnings based on your income bracket, then she would take the benefit, right? But if she earns more and she's a high earner, there's no real point in taking the spousal benefit because it's just going to have to be repaid right back to the government. Okay? Social Security is good, but it's not that good. All right. Okay, so this piece goes over through the advantages, but let's go to how this actually works. I've given you kind of a description of how it works, but most people are visual and they learn visually. So there's really several ways you can do this. The husband can take the spousal benefit or the wife could take the spousal benefit. In this instance, we've got a wife who's age 62 and her husband age 66. They want to retire at the same time. They're both eligible for $2,000 a month of retirement benefit at age 66. She's 4 years away, he's right there, okay? But because the wife has not reached her full retirement age, her monthly benefit will be reduced if she retires now and begins to receive benefits. So she doesn't want that to happen. She wants her $2,000 a month to keep going up until she reaches age 70 or anywhere above the full retirement age. She doesn't want to take a haircut because there is a significant reduction of up to a third if she takes it at age 62. So here's what happens. The husband claims his retirement benefit of $2,000 a month at age 66, just like the way I described. The wife claims her retirement benefit of $1,500 a month because she took it at age 62. Now they're showing you an example of without restricted application here and with restricted application. So we're going to see the benefits of doing the restricted application. So in the first example, she says, we're both retiring, neither one of us is going to work, they're not going to recapture any of my money. That $1,500 a month is mine, okay? I realize I'm going to take a haircut, I'm going to get a reduced benefit, but we're both retired, we want to enjoy each other. So their monthly income before the husband is age 70 is $3,500 a month. And the monthly income after husband's age 70 without cost of living is $3,500 a month. So they got no benefit from delaying to age 70 the increased monthly benefit. Okay. So here's what's important. If either spouse dies, your survivor benefit is based on your current insurance amount, your monthly benefit. So in this case, the $3,500, or rather the $2,000 for the spouse, either spouse, is going to end up being a $2,000 survivor benefit. Okay. Now, we're going to do a restricted application on the right. On the restricted application, the monthly income before the husband's age 70 with the restricted application is $1,500 plus $1,000, so they are going to be receiving $1,000 less a month. In this case, the husband receives the $1,500 and the wife gets $1,000. No, let me see. What does it say? Oh, the wife claims her retirement benefit early at age 62. And the husband, they flipped it around. The husband applies for the restricted benefit. So the wife has a cutback to $1,500 because she's not full retirement age yet. She gets her $1,500, which she got in the previous example. But the husband is going to receive $1,000 spousal benefit by him doing the restricted benefit because he's at full retirement age, right? And that restricted benefit is going to be based on her full retirement age benefit, not the $1,500. Does that make sense? Okay. Remember I said the spousal benefit is based on your spouse's full retirement benefit. And under the right, they were both eligible for $2,000. So he files a restricted benefit and he gets half of her projected $2,000 a month benefit. Isn't that weird? Even though she opted to take it early and she's only making $1,500. He's getting what, 75% of her benefit as a spouse? Not 50%. Now here's what happens at age 70. At age 70, he comes off a spousal benefit and he takes his full run-up of his 32% more, and now the household income is $4,140. See how powerful that is? And that's why when I had the conversation with Gwen, she had already known about restricted benefit because they did some planning. So if you have any friends or relatives nearing our situation of taking or trying to make a decision about Social Security, please have them talk to an advisor. Now, all of you have seen articles saying, you know, there's such turnover at Social Security, and especially when the file was suspended, went away, they got a lot of things wrong at the Social Security office. The people actually, the intake people who were trying to help us, many people got word that suspending your benefits is gone, so you better take it. And once they activated it, they were locked in. But if you make a wrong decision in filing, you have 12 months now to reverse that decision. I don't know how long that's going to last. But let's say that you take it at age 66 and you talk to an advisor and they said, no, you've got plenty to retire. Just use your savings. Let it run up 32% more at age 70. So you're within the 12-month mark. You can actually pay Social Security back that money and delay. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So for some of us who took Social Security very early, age 62, the only thing we're only going to get the cost of living raises. You know, we've already taken that haircut, and that decision that I made at age 62 is irrevocable. It can't be undone. Okay. So the reason I like this piece is that it's a good visual example. It's very clear with and without restricted application. And then we're going to be talking about divorced individuals. Okay, so divorced individuals are entitled to benefits from their former spouse if they were married at least for 10 years. And there's a period of at least 2 years before they're filing for a claim. Okay. So, the former spouse does not necessarily have to file for benefits. And I know that might be contrary to what you had heard before, but there's a caveat to this. If you currently, let's say that you took your benefit early at age 62, and now your ex is going to file for benefits soon, or you know they're eligible, and you've done the math and your benefit, your projected benefit is more than you receive than your age 62 benefit, then you do have to wait until the former spouse files. But if you are divorced and you meet the criteria here, you actually can go in for spousal benefits, even while your ex-spouse has not filed, as long as this is the first time you're filing benefits. Okay. The example goes on the next page, and we're doing good now. Okay. Now, I had other material to share, but they're in your folder. And just as an aside, does anybody know any widows at all? Okay. The restricted benefit, and of course it is based on age. Social Security is not letting widows know that the restricted benefits feature is available to them. So the last study I saw was 87% of widows could have a higher benefit than they realize, but they're not being notified. There's no legal obligation to tell them. And this restricted benefit is going away. It's like file suspend is gone, restricted benefits are gone. Okay, so please let those people know to at least check in with the Social Security office to see if they might get a higher income by filing a restricted application, or if they are entitled to higher survivor benefits.
When is it gone?
It is on that piece. Does it give us a date? I had it in my mind. Okay, so as long as you were age 62 or older prior to January 2nd, 2016. But there's another piece that actually gives us a date. First one who finds it, let me know. It's on one-year pieces. You've got mutual fund services pieces in there as well. Anyone turning age 66 years old before January 2nd, 2020, which is the article piece on the very back, the last piece on the right-hand side of the folder. This, to me, is more useful than if you turn age 62 before January 2nd, 2016. It's easier to remember. Anyone turning your full retirement age, or 66 years old, before January 2nd, 2020, can do restricted benefits. So we've got one more year, just over a year to do this. Okay, any questions on Social Security? That concludes our 45-minute, which was really an hour-and-a-half seminar, okay? Any questions at all? Okay, so if you think of any questions, just shoot me an email later on and I'll try to answer it. But now we're going to take a 15-minute break and hopefully come back a little bit earlier on break, because we're going to go into healthcare costs in retirement, but you're all going to have to be wirelessly connected. And as opposed to last year, it's working fine, so I don't anticipate any problems. But if you do have a problem connecting, you might have to do a personal hotspot on your phone. And if you don't know how to do it, I can show you. Okay? So we're breaking for 15 minutes. They're going to ask you if you want drinks. Thanks.